Good Friday morning, everybody. It is July the 8th, 9:50 a.m. Markets, or the indices, gapped up higher this morning after a positive NFP report, non-farm payrolls, non-foreign payrolls, easy for me to say. And we have a bit of risk coming off the market, so a lot of stocks are gapping up this morning. Risk is back on as the S&P E-mini is closing in on its most recent highs for the year. We have a good gap up scenario here. It looks like a kind of a gap and go right now, where we had usually three possible scenarios playing out here. And I'm still waiting for the first 30-minute range to close before I make some more decisions around my swing type trades for the day. But we have a nice gap up. Usually you have one of three scenarios playing out. Expectation right now is that the markets climb higher. That's clearly the expectation. So I'm going to be watching to see if that tone at all changes. But in terms of the three gap scenarios, which I've laid out in the past, is number one, we simply gap up and go, as we're kind of doing here now. We're gapping up. This is the YM, by the way, the E-mini Dow. That's scenario number one. Scenario two is we gap up, and then we basically retrace and basically fill that gap. This is a very large gap, so the chance of it retracing in that type of scenario is quite unlikely. And then the third scenario is that we somehow just turn sideways here until the moving averages catch up before it does a continuation to the upside. So right now it looks like kind of a gap and go. We're getting a little bit extended now from the moving average, the key moving averages that I look at here, especially the 5 period, which is the red one. And so we'd expect this to either hit its targets for the day or hit an area of supply before it starts to back off. And then it needs to consolidate for these moving averages to catch up here. Alright, so at this point here, just quickly take a look at the sectors. Go back to here. Pretty much everything's in green right now. Quite positive. Financials leading the way, followed by industrials and discretionary. And energy, nice little bit of a bump for energy, as energy's had a kind of a shaky ride the last couple of days. Although if you take a look at Brent crude, it is trading below its 50-day moving average now. So it's this is the first time it's been trading below that average for some time. So we're seeing a bit of a change in direction there. And the laggards right now are utilities and healthcare. Utilities are being the only one in the red right now. Alright, so let's see where the markets take us today. Looking for some good opportunities to trade in the direction of the overall market. But looking for some consolidation here before we again look to tackle these new highs. If we begin to fail at the opening range levels that will be set at 10 o'clock, then we have that opportunity for a quick play to the downside, and that's what I'll be looking for as well. If some of these late longs get up here and get trapped, then we'll have this opportunity to play to the downside. Although I really don't expect to see this thing, fill the gap in today's session. I think that would be quite unusual. All right, so let's keep going from here. 9:54. All right, guys, took the first trade in the XIV for the session, long at 27.63 on opening range break. We had it on the 2-minute chart. It break out. It came back in again. Tested the VWAP here a couple of times, and I bought this break out above the opening range at 27.63, and expect this thing to begin to move higher now as the broader markets are close to its session highs. So let's begin to watch this and manage our trade. And at the same time, once you take a look on a higher time from here, once this bar gets taken out, we had a inverted hammer here, and the high of that is 72. It's clear that probably some guys got short this bar, so some folks literally bought. I'll just zoom in a little closer here. They bought the lows of this bar, and they saw this bar had broken below this previous bar's low. And so if this can break above this high of 27.73, then these early shorts will get trapped, and this will propel the market higher. So that's what I'm looking for right now, is to really ride the strength of these broken shorts, hoping for that scenario, or looking forward to that scenario to playing out. And if not, got our stop in, and let's manage it from there. Okay, it is 10:09. Alright, quick update. So it's 10:38. I got stopped out of my first XIV long, but long again on XIV at 27.61 now on this kind of a micro trend break. An interesting little thing happening here where we have XIV getting close to its opening range highs. Again, that scenario I outlined before about 27.73 or 72, excuse me, that high did not get taken out. So that's still the session high right now, but we're hovering right there. Now, juxtapose that with the YM, and the YM and the ES are actually not near the opening ranges highs, although the ES is actually a lot closer. So we have a little bit of a divergence here, and I'm looking for the YM to play catch up. So looking for a small little scalp here on the YM if it sets up to catch up with the XIV. As it looks like volatility is going down, and again XIV being the inverse is going up. So let's go ahead and wait and see how that plays out. Going to try to do a little small scalp here on the YM to see if I can capture that kind of a difference in the divergence. Okay, 10:39. Another quick update. So XIV now hovering right at the highs of the session. Looks like it's consolidating very nicely here, right at the opening range highs. Give it a second for the catch up there. We can see that nice little bullish pattern right there with this bullish hammer pattern. Let's zoom back down again. ES now right at close to the opening range highs, breaking above some previous areas of resistance. The Qs are they're on their way. They're at the highs already of the session. And let's take a look at the IWM, the Russell. And this guy's launching higher. So we just need to be patient here now and see how these markets react. XIV is again just kind of creeping in there. The YM is kind of the laggard today, kind of sitting in there and not wanting to play nice. They're like, no, we're more conservative. We're gonna wait. So let's go ahead and wait for the XIV to respond in kind. And we have a nice little coiling pattern. You can see it quite obviously just visually here now. And I'll just draw that in, manually. But you can see quite the coiling pattern here on the YM. I'll zoom in there. So once we break out of this level here, and it looks like we're breaking out of these consolidation bars. Excuse all the sorry for all the Fibonacci levels in the way there, but now we're moving, and let's see if we can begin to get towards the highs of the day for the YM here of 87. Okay, so the only caveat here, not expecting this thing to rocket right away, just because we have this, I've been watching this lately because the volatility has been so low that these Bollinger Bands, I've added them to my charts just to see where the volatility is and kind of where price action could hit resistance levels and support levels. So right now the bands are kind of tightening or narrowing, and this is just worth paying attention to, as it's oftentimes people will take profits at these levels just because the volatility is so low. When volatility is high, then these Bollinger Bands do not contain price very well. But when you have VIX trading, the VXX contract trading at 1247 right now, it just shows you the the lack of volatility. All right, so that little ding there. I took my quick scalp already on the YM. That was an easy 10-tick move. That little ding there is the XIV position now plus 1R. Okay, so we'll let that guy run a bit here now. Let's go back to the XIV. That means it's hit fresh highs for the day. And let's see now if you look at our fib extensions. Let me get rid of some of these extra lines that don't belong here. 2834 is a reasonable target based upon the a nice gap and go type of scenario. And if that gets to those levels, and there's no that will put us into the plus 4R range. Okay, so let's go ahead and wait for this kind of thing to play out. Again, the only caveat here is that what I don't like right now is that well, it's not so bad on the 50-minute chart, but if you take a look at the 5-minute chart, we have Bollinger Bands kind of creeping downwards. That means volatility is beginning to get squeezed, and so I don't think we're going to get an explosive move an explosive move out of this opening range. So it's going to be one of those positions where you're going to have to nurse it a bit and see how it plays out, and just be mindful and careful and manage it appropriately by trailing stops. Because with these markets here being so low in volatility, you just can't expect you just can't expect it to run up in a linear fashion. It could chop around and chop you out. So plus 1R right now on the XIV, and let's keep our attention on that. Okay, 10:47. Another quick update. It is 11:05. Still on XIV. Just been kind of scalping some YM right now, as the markets are kind of giving itself away. It's giving kind of a tell, and we have a pretty clear uptrend. It's hard to debate that it's going up, and yet there are always participants in the market who are trying to short these trending markets, and so we're trying to take advantage of those guys right now, right? So you have some folks who are literally trying to short these tops, looking to buy, to catch the reversal, and I have no problem taking the opposite side of their reversals, because if you take a look at the 5-minute chart here, let's say on the YM, this is another inverted hammer. It would appear to be a topping pattern, but we're in a strong uptrend. So those guys who are looking to short this market and find that reversal, they're probably going to layer their stops above the highs of this candle bar. This is the 5-minute chart, and we had this subsequent bar breakdown. Maybe one tick below. So you trap some folks at the bottom of this range of this bar here, and so you would expect now for the markets to begin to push away and trap those early shorts. So that's the game, right? So right now many of the indices are going higher. For instance, the Qs, it's well above its opening range high. IWM is really flying today, up 2% already. YM is the most subdued of the day, but again, it's still at its opening range highs right now. It's just hit some fresh highs there, and likewise ES, we have some room to move still. This is all in the 15-minute chart, so there's no point fighting the trend. At this point, it's best just to to ride it and try to capture the bigger picture. Okay, 11:08. Hey guys, just giving a quick update on the XIV position. This move is now working out quite well. I've actually taken profits already at what's my levels? I took profits at the 28 level, as I was watching the YM, and it hit its 127.2 extension, as well as the ES. I was having a target of 2120, and it succeeded that. It could very well continue to move here, but I'm happy collecting my plus 2R on that, plus 2R plus on that trade, and closing that one down, as I do have some other things I want to take care of this afternoon. So pretty easy trading today. Scalped a bunch, did a bunch of scalps on the YM as the trend was clearly higher, and we had that 1R loss on the YM earlier, on the XIV earlier, and we just closed this one for plus 2R plus on the XIV. So pretty unremarkable day. Markets are probably going to go up from here, and it's one of those days where it pays to pay attention to the morning gap. Scenario 3 kind of played out, where it gapped up, it consolidated for basically a number of hours from the opening range, from the open right to lunchtime, and then we have this break now at 1 o'clock. Alright, so hope your trading is well. Have a great weekend.